Why do we find ourselves so bored? We got more creative cobwebs than anybody can afford. Always pretending to be hip. That really gets to be a chore. Now what's it all good for? You can only say so much, and then you can't say anymore. You can only say so much, and then you can't say anymore. To live and breathe some point of view, that's just the same as being dead. So I hope that you won't hold me down to anything I've done or said. Oh, and I promise not to lead you on. Promise me you won't be led in people when it's all been said. You can only say so much, and then you can't say anymore. You can only say so much, and then you can't say anymore.
Michael Martin Murphey. Welcome, Michael.
Thank you. How are you?
Nice to have you back again. Got a new album out on Columbia Records. You were formerly on A&M. Why the change to Columbia?
Well, I have a song that will explain that.
Is that right?
Would you like to hear
I'd
it?
like to hear it. I'd like to hear it. This is the reason why Mike Murphey is no longer with A&M and is with Columbia.
Right. Hey boy, would you like to have the Philharmonic in your song? We can't even bribe the finest musicians to play along. That's what they tell you when they don't want you by yourself. I won't pitch my tent on the main street of hell. Hey, nobody's going to tell me how to play my music. No man, how simple it's got to be free. Nobody's going to tell me how to play my music. It's gonna come out sounding like you and me. Hey boy, we like your melody, but you'll have to change your tune. You be the launching pad, son, while we shoot the moon. That's what they told me when I had nothing to lose. Besides, they had 'em lining up to fill up my shoes. That's why nobody's going to tell me how to play my music. No matter how simple, it's got to be free. Nobody's going to tell me how to play my music. It's gonna come out sounding like you and me. Said, hey boy, would you like to wind up out on the street? Tapping out the songs that you write with your feet.
Murphey, and we're talking about the new record. Who's on the new record, Mike?
Well, primarily my own band. Herb Steiner plays steel guitar and dobro and some mandolin, and Craig Hillis plays lead guitar. And both of those fellas were on Jerry Just Viva Terlingua album. And they're playing in my band now. And then Jerry Potter plays on the record, my bass player. And then we have also playing bass on the album a fellow named Tommy Cogbill that played with Aretha Franklin for quite a few years. And we had him sit in on some sort of gospel type tunes that I did on the album.
Mm-hmm.
And then on drums, John Hill played the country stuff, and the gospel type stuff brought in Kenny Buttry, who was some of you might be familiar with Kenny. He was Neil Young's band for a while, and he's a very well known player in Nashville. Really a fine drummer, and
Mm-hmm.
really good on those tunes that really kick out, you know. So now I brought in the organist from the First Holiness Church of Nashville.
For real?
To play on a song called Holy Rollers. Yeah.
Oh, beautiful.
And then I went out to L.A. and got Mary Clayton, who's a good friend of ours, to sing some background vocals. She put together a group for me. And on this album, I really felt very strongly that I wanted to use some black musicians for a change, because I was going back over my other two albums and discovered that it was pretty lily white up until that point. And so I wanted to use some black musicians and see how that side of things would affect my music. And I was really pleased with the result, in that I felt like it gave a little bit different edge to what I do. And I plan to do a lot more of that. I cut some tracks also which aren't on the album with a conga drum player and talking drum player from Nigeria. And we're still holding those tracks. We're mixing them and thinking about putting them on another album.
Mm-hmm.
And just trying to bring in some other influences. First album, Geronimo, was sort of an overall statement about my songs and my roots, and then the second one, Cosmic Cowboy, was more sort of a Western kind of a feel, and this one goes into my gospel roots, because I was raised in the Baptist church, and then, well, I'm no longer a member of the Baptist church, but there's a whole lot of that in my soul, a whole lot of that music.
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted to try to rephrase some of that music from me, the way I live now, but still use those same roots. So that's really the basic idea behind this album.
Did you go into the roots of Michael Murphey? Did they go back to this Baptist church? Were you singing in the congregation and stuff like that?
Yeah, I used to lead music, and at one time, for a short time, I was a preacher.
A preacher?
Yeah. And I did a lot of stuff, you know, but it was not all bad, but it was mostly bad. There were a lot of strange things going on, and I can remember when I was a teenager, sermons being preached about not allowing people of a different color to come into the church at all, and that was really when I sort of started drifting away from the whole thing, because I really couldn't justify in my mind any religion that would try to lock certain people out and include, a select group of others. So that's when I started to question the whole thing. But nevertheless, there's a lot of that music still running around in my head. So I tried to take the basis of the music and add my own lyrics and kind of, put ideas into it that I feel like are a little bit more universal and not so narrow-minded, because I think the whole gospel music framework is really a good way to get certain ideas across, because it's a really good, gives you a good rush, it's a good feeling. And I've used it, got this song called Holy Rollers, and that's on the new album, and that's sort of an attempt to update
gospel music a little bit, to not be quite so narrow-minded and possibly have a little bit more universal message, maybe even extending outside the realm of Christianity completely, you know, because gospel music started with a Christian religion, but as George Harrison proved, you can say Hare Krishna and Hallelujah all in the same gospel song, and it's all the same anyway.
You did a song last time you were on the show, day after Thanksgiving, and we were talking about this before we went on the air, that John Corto wrote. And Joe, who comes on right after we get off, said a lot of telephone calls came in as a result of that. And I wonder, could you do that now? That's an a cappella thing, and it's hard to do, I suppose, just right on the spur of the moment.
Well, let me see if I can get it together here.
All right.
This is a song called "Cross Between a River and a Cross," and it was 8 o'clock in the morning last time I did it, and here we are again. But we'll see what we can do. When she delivers, she feels like moss. There is a forest flowing in her face. There is a harvest growing in her grace. Hey, she's a cross between a river and a cross. She calls like a cello in halls by the sea. She falls like a shadow that falls right on me. She flops like a pleasant cloud in delight. She drops like a dressing gown in the night. She's holy, she's a mystery. She told me she's a gypsy, she said. Babe, you should write a book. It could set you free. It's not the way you look, it's the way you see. She's small like a sound that comes up from nights. The tactical police adore her. The traffic freezes all before her. She crawls around town some nights. She's holy, she's a mystery. She told me that she's a gypsy, she said. Babe, you should write a book. It could make you free. It's not the way you look, it's the way you see. Now when she delivers, she feels like moss. There is a harvest growing in her grace. There is a forest flowing in her face. She's a cross between a river and a cross. She's a cross between a river and a cross. She's a cross between a river and a cross.
What's the name of the new album?
Michael Murphey.
Just Michael Murphey.
Yeah, we went through all kinds of title trips and just decided that, that we didn't want to have a title this time, so we didn't go with one. I've never called an album just Michael Murphey, and most artists do at one time or another, just call at least one album, after their own name. And that's what I decided to do this time, because I've had titles on the other two.
It sounds like a beauty. When's it going to be out?
They're shipping it this Friday, and I guess it'll be in the stores next week. And it'll be, it should probably come to Austin first.
Yeah.
I would think. But the release date officially is this Friday.
You're gonna be doing a lot of songs from the new album at the two shows this week.
I'm gonna do all of them.
All the songs.
Yeah.
All the songs.
That's the main purpose of this particular performance is to, sing the new songs for people. Because I think a lot of times people like to hear the songs live, before they decide whether they want to buy a record or not. And so just going to, do them in live performance and let people sort of make up their own minds.
Yeah, you got a big following in this part of the country, as you know. You live around here. It seems like a lot of things have changed, though, about the Austin music scene since, over 2 years. Has it changed any as far as you're concerned?
I think it's changed dramatically, and I think that possibly we ought to take a real close look at what's happening here in Austin and make sure that we don't get Texas fever. You know, we don't get so hung up in our own little trip that we forget about the rest of the world, because a very narrow viewpoint, or what in politics you would call boosterism, where everybody kind of is real into a local scene and kind of forgets about the rest of the world. There's a tendency to cut yourself off from other really important creative forces, and I see that possibly happening here in Austin, where a situation could develop that would create a great deal of emphasis just on what we're doing and not on what's going on in the universe, you know. Mm-hmm. Particularly, you know, on the West Coast, the East Coast, in England, in Europe, musically. All of those places are producing good music. I've always felt very strongly that music, you know, can be written anywhere, anytime, you know, by someone who's into it, that it doesn't depend on a certain kind of scene, you know. And I hope we don't depend on our scene. I hope we depend on our music instead. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I think the fact that there are a lot of musicians living in this town is really great, and I think the fact that there's a lot of creativity here is really nice. But I don't think we can trade on the name of Austin. In other words, I'm from Austin, I must be good, or I'm from Texas, I'm a part of the Texas scene, so listen to me, because that's not enough. You've got to have something else in there, in your heart, besides just being in a place. If we ever start stressing locale too much, you're going to have people from all over the country coming down here trying to trade on Austin's name, walking the streets looking for a gig, and sort of saying, well, you know, I live in Austin and I'm a part of the Austin scene, and so I know what's happening. And that was kind of like what happened in San Francisco. There's a danger in that sort of thing, you know. And San Francisco really ran into trouble with it. That thing of being sort of the psychedelic rock and roll center, and look at it now. It's just kind of a dead, Haight-Ashbury and all that sort of dead. And I think we ought to take a real close look at all those hip ghost towns.
Now, what's that going to do to you? What are your future plans with regard to that?
Well, I'll always love Austin, and I'll always come here, and I've always enjoyed it. And I don't think there's anything that can take away my basic love of this town, because I've been playing here since I was 18 years old. I played my first job in Austin when I was 18, and I'm 29 here, so 11 years off and on I've been coming here and playing at whatever clubs were open. Started off with a place called the Id, which was a little sort of beatnik coffee house way before people even thought about having long hair. I was playing folk music then, and I kept on coming to Austin, and I had so many friends here that I moved here. But I moved here because I felt it was a laid-back, relaxed, easygoing town where there was not much pressure from the music business. And the more of that starts happening, the more pressure there is, the more intensity there is as far as all that kind of stuff goes, the more I tend to kind of back off and want to go to places that are quieter. Now, I do have a place out at the lake, and it kind of takes the city edge off of my existence. But I'm thinking real seriously about getting myself a place in Colorado to sort of retreat to for part of the year, because the heat really gets to me in the summertime here. That's the one thing that's really kind of hard for me to live with. And some people have that sensibility where they can really take hot weather, but I like to get up in the morning and have it be a little bit cold and take a walk and sort of make myself get going. And like I get up in June or July in the morning here, and like it's 11 or 12 before I can start moving. But I love this town, and I probably will maintain a little apartment here, a house or something, and spend at least part of the year down here, probably when it's a little bit cooler. And in the summers, go up to Colorado. What I'm trying to do in Colorado right now is put together a camp for emotionally disturbed children. My wife and I are very much into that, and Caroline is very interested in putting together a camp that will take children that are disturbed mentally, take them out into the forest and the wilderness, and sort of let them conquer their fears by conquering the land at the same time. And she's done some of this work, and it's really exciting, and I want to participate in it too. So in the summers we'll probably be in Colorado doing that, and that will give me like a little chance to back off some from all the music business and publicity and all that, and do something different, play my guitar for some kids. And I really love children. I've got a little boy that's 4, and
I heard he was playing with his dad one night.
He does. He gets on stage and plays whenever he feels like it. I don't push him into it, but he's asked several times if he could get up and play, and I let him play whenever he feels like it. And I don't know, I guess since I became a father, I've become interested in the whole issue of where are children going, where are our little kids going that are 3, 4, and 5 years old, and what's going to happen to their heads. And a lot of them are just innocent. They have no control at all over their lives. They're born with birth defects, or they're born into an environment that makes them uptight. And I feel that part of what I do from now on in my life, I'm almost 30 years old, it's got to have something to do with children. I just want to do something to sort of, I don't know, pay back the good karma that I've gotten from having a kid myself who's healthy and well and together and intelligent. And I see so many parents that have problem children, and it'd be nice to work with some of those kids. It's very rewarding, and there's a lot that music can do to serve these ends in form of benefits, doing benefits to raise money for different camps and organizations like this. It's more than a kind of send a kid to camp thing. It's a reprogramming of a person's life. I was at the Southwestern Medical School a couple of days ago, and a friend of mine up there is a plastic surgeon, and he literally restructures people's faces. They're born with birth defects, and he goes in and draws them a new face, and they redesign the bone structure and go in, and they actually peel the face off and go in and redesign the bone structure and then put the face back on again, so that a child who looks like a monster, who might clear a store if he walked in because of a horrible disease or something, can suddenly have a new face, and suddenly his whole life changes. And sort of what it's all about to me, you know, and I want to use my music as a way to get some things going in that line, you know.
We were talking about Austin a minute ago. You wrote a beautiful song called Alleys of Austin. What did that, we're going to play that in a second, but where did the idea of that, were you just thinking about the city one day when it came to you?
Well, I went down to a recording session. The recording session was at Odyssey Sound in its neophyte stage, when all they had was some like 4 or 8 track recorders and some insulation tacked on the walls, and Jerry Jeff was recording his first album for MCA, and I went down to watch, and the room was so small that I couldn't get in, so I went next door to the sandwich shop, and I had my guitar, and I was just looking out, and it was raining outside, and I saw an old guy walk by, a really old beat up looking bum who looked like he'd probably been in Austin for 30 or 40 years. I thought, I wonder if he reads Rolling Stone. I wonder if he knows much about the Texas music scene. I wonder how he sees it all, you know. And out of that I thought, well, you know, out there in the alley there's a whole existence going on that knows nothing about all this kind of current hip in thing. And I've started off wanting to write a song about him, and then it just sort of expanded to the whole kind of underlying funk of Austin, like South Austin and the alleys and the back streets that people don't see. You know, we all tend to kind of hang out in one area. We don't really get out and see what Austin's really like on the fringes or in some of the ghetto areas. And it's beautiful. There's some incredible music being played in those areas too. Like in the ghetto sections of town, there's some black groups that are really fine that get almost no exposure here. And I've gone down to see a few of them play. There are some young white musicians playing in those bands now too. And that is going to come out, I hope, in the Austin music scene too. I hope some of those groups get through. Right now it's all kind of that country rock thing, but I hope some more things start cropping up, like some good jazz players and some Chicano bands and some black bands that are playing Miles Davis music and beyond, you know.
Let's listen to that. This is a song that Michael just described called The Alleys of Austin. Okay, we got about just a little bit of time left. This is the last segment. My guest this morning is Michael Murphey, and he is in Austin Friday and Saturday night. If you haven't got your tickets, you're going to miss a good show, I'm afraid, if you don't go. It's going to be featuring his new album, and we got just a little time left, Michael. You got a song you can do to close out the show?
Yeah, I was talking earlier about children, and this is a song that is based on an Ozark saying, an Ozark mountain saying that if you drink from a healing spring and you're healed, you have to go back and drink again before you die. And this is sort of a story that I imagined happening maybe up in the Ozark Mountains. It's called Healing Spring. Come and behold how these miracles unfold, how the old smoke of the soul must roll away in hearts made whole. Born deaf and dumb, a twice cursed child, my father carried me for miles to where the cold, pure waters seem to bathe me in the waters of the healing spring. Now bring the lame, the halt, the blind. The pain is only in your mind. Stay a while, sway and sing, bathing in the waters of the healing spring. Now when the spring had set me free, a healing power came to me, and many a chant and charm I learned to pull the fire out of burns. And many a time I've taken flight to heal a sick child